The AWC Cup 1 is finished, and I figured we could have a discussion. You know what I mean? We could have a discussion about what happened, what kind of surprises there were, what teams did well. If you guys didn't get a chance to see, maybe give you guys a little bit of an update on the tournament meta and how everyone is doing. So I made a little list. Okay, so this is not a tier list. I don't want to call this a tier list. This is more of like a categorizer. Okay, so we have different categories here. Let me just explain it before we get into it. So the first category is going to be had the most success and played all the time. Second category is was surprisingly good. Third category is one player pulled it off, but probably still average. Saw some, it looked okay, but they lost. Performed below expectations. Surprisingly didn't see at all. All right, so I know that's a lot, but you have to think of it. This is not a tier list. I just figured we could talk about, you know, some of the classes. It's not a tier list. Stop it. Talk about some of the classes and, you know, what's being played in both Europe and North America. Because it was an interesting one for sure. I think, at least in North America, I was a little bit surprised by what had won. And the European finals surprised me too. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. All right, so let's just do a quick little recap of Europe. So in Europe, we saw Echo, the team that won. Echo, of course, is Chanimal, Waz, Raikou, and Meh. They primarily played Rogue, Priest, so Subtlety Rogue, Priest, and then a mixture of Frost Mage or Warlock in these games. This is great, man. This information, this website is so cool. It shows all the different specs. But yeah, I guess we can kind of just go through some of these classes right now. So we didn't see any tanks. Thankfully, we didn't see a single tank specialization throughout the entirety of the AWC, which is wonderful. That's exactly what you want to see. So there's going to be no tanks played at all. Am I missing one? I think I am. Guardian Druid. Yeah, no Guardian Druid. Wonderful. So I guess, oh, no Brewmaster. So I guess we can start off with healers. We'll go in order. We'll look at like what were the most potent melee, what were the most potent healers, what were the most potent caster DPS, and we can start off with healers. So I think we saw Mistweaver Monk once. We saw Mistweaver Monk once in a single game and they lost. So I need one more category, actually. We need one more category. Saw it. It sucks. All right, this one is specifically for Mistweaver Monks. Because otherwise I don't... Yeah. All right, here we go. If we saw Mistweaver Monk picked a single time by Meep, they tried it out as like a Hail Mary. And we're putting Mistweaver Monk right there. All right. So that's the first healer we're going to be ranking. I think going into the tournament, a lot of people didn't expect much for Mistweaver Monks. And I think for Mistweaver Monks, the interesting thing about it is they keep buffing its healing, which isn't really the problem. I think there's almost no hope for Mistweaver Monks until the 0.5 patch comes out. So once the 0.5 patch comes out, I think there'll be hope for Mistweaver Monks. They're getting some new tools. They're getting some damage. It might be interesting. What else? Holy Priest, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we saw a single Holy Priest. No one even attempted it. And I don't think it's one of those surprisingly didn't see. I think Disc is just outright better than Holy right now. So yeah, well, we didn't see Holy Priest whatsoever. We didn't see it even once. Is it surprising? Do you guys think it's surprising we didn't see it or not really? I don't think really. Didn't see it. Yeah. A Restoration Druid, I don't think we saw a single Restoration Druid. Is that true? I'm trying to think. Like in the top 8, I don't think we saw a single Restoration Druid. Tuna played it? He played it once and got owned. Okay, so very similar. Saw it, it sucks. Perfect. It's just like Mistweaver Monk. We saw Tuna play it one time. I think they played Arcane Outlaw Resto Druid, and it just didn't work out for them, unfortunately. What's next on the list? Restoration Shaman. Did we see any Restoration Shaman? I don't think anyone even attempted to play it. True? I'm pretty sure 0 people played it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Resto Shaman is not the meta, it feels like. it's weird because I don't feel like Resto Shaman's that bad. Is it a surprising that we didn't see Resto Shaman? To me, it's a little bit surprising we didn't see it. Like, I get it if you're a priest. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it as surprising we didn't see it at all. Kind of thought that, but not exactly. I don't know. I thought going into the weekend, at least maybe one team would have pulled it out, would have tried it. So surprisingly, we didn't see the Resto Shaman. I don't think it's that awful. But yeah, no one ended up trying it whatsoever. So there's two healers left. We got the Holy Paladin and the Discipline Priest. Actually, the Presevoker as well. So Presevoker to me really performed below expectations. I'm gonna put it there. Performed below expectations. We can mix these up. Yeah, interestingly enough, it just performed below expectations. I don't really know. I thought going into this tournament that Presevoker and Discipline Priest were going to be the absolute best, but every single team that played Presevoker just got completely wrecked. It feels like it just fell off. I don't know exactly why it fell off so bad. Like, why do you guys think it's so bad now? Do you think the Living Flame nerfs and it just gets CC'd too much by rogues maybe? Like, rogues and mages just, yeah, that might be it. Just the rogues and mages just completely own it. It seems like, yeah, you're just getting stunned into a fear, stunned into a poly, and there's really not that much you could do. So, yep. Top players take advantage of the range. Yeah, I guess maybe you can, a good mage, a good rogue, a good warlock can kind of exploit the evoker. So, really surprised we didn't really see it do well at all. It really performed below expectations. I think the biggest surprise for me, actually we'll save the big surprise for last. But Discipline Priest absolutely played. Most games were played to the Discipline Priest. Almost all teams basically fully invested their stonks into a Discipline Priest. And it was played in almost every single series. Now, the big surprise for me, not a big surprise, but Paladins going into this tournament were kind of like an X factor, I think. A lot of people really kind of underestimated how good they were going to be. They got massive mana buffs and massive throughput buffs. So the Holy Paladin was surprisingly good for me. Like, very, 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 very good. It was played, it actually won in North America. So it won in North America, and in Europe it was in the finals. And where's the finals? Yeah, so the finals for Europe was between Echo and Drive Overload, and they played the Feral Mage Paladin in almost every game. So I think Paladin is going to be one of those healers that a lot more teams pick up. And I do wonder if, I feel like what I'm noticing is there's a really good synergy between Holy Paladins and Mages. With how good rogues are and with how good hunters are, for example, I feel like mages have been struggling a little bit, but when you bring in the paladin and the mage together, they have really, really good synergy. So paladin and mage seems like a really strong combo, and I think we're definitely going to see more of it moving forward. All right, I think that's all the healers. So we got them all ranked. Sodic sucks, surprisingly didn't see, performed below expectations. That looks good to me. Okay, let's do melee DPS. Frost Death Knight. I don't think we saw a single Frost Death Knight, and I don't think it was surprising. I think it's Garbanzo. So Frost Death Knight, didn't see it at all. It's trash in the tournament meta. And yeah. I just want to reiterate once again, guys, this is like the best players in the game playing these specs. What are they playing? What are we seeing in the AWC? What are we likely to see in the AWC next week? Okay? I don't even think Meep's team played it. I think they just played on Holy DK instead. What do we think about DK, like Unholy DK? It definitely doesn't suck. I don't think it performed below expectations. Like, I don't know if I have a good category for Unholy DK, because I don't think Unholy DK is necessarily bad right now, but it just doesn't seem as good as like Ferals or Rogues. As pulled it off, it was okay. I guess, yeah, one God player pulled it off. Probably still average, maybe. DK is slowly falling off. Played at expectations. Below expectations? I thought it seemed below expectations. Really? Perform below expectations? You know what? We could put that there. I guess like DKs were played, they looked fine, but it really did underperform. I'm gonna put up perform below expectations. I think that's true. That's a good shout there because, yeah. I think right now, I mean, spoiler alert, subtlety rogues and feral druids are extremely good. So, yes, sir. Next day, do you see the need to limit one class per player? This whole swapping classes to win a certain matchup is lame. You think so? It's an interesting take. All right, so we got our DK sorted. Windwalker Monk. Windwalker Monk, I know exactly where it's going. No hesitation whatsoever. One God player pulled it off. Probably still average. We saw Dorito play Windwalker Monk, and he made it look really good. He made it look better than I think most people would. So, yeah, I think the fact that like they're so in sync, and Dorito is so insane, like they pulled it off. I don't think the success of Dorito is gonna make people play Windwalker Monk. Basically, is what I want to say. Like, I don't think it's one of those things where people are like, "Oh man, look at Dorito, he's so good at Monk. Like they did so well. We need to invest." It's like no. No one's investing in Windwalker Monk. Yep. Okay. Next up, Havoc Demon Hunter. Did we see any Havoc Demon Hunters? I think as a sod, it sucks kind of thing. I think we saw it. It looked garbage. Everyone, yeah. Trend got destroyed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Havoc Demon Hunter is just not that great right now. Unfortunately, I think just, and I actually think the main reason why it doesn't feel good, and you guys can disagree with me, but I feel like because Feral Druids and Subtlety Rogues are so strong, Havoc Demon Hunter is just not going to be good because they're just so susceptible to dying in stuns. A lot of the survivability was nerfed, unfortunately, and yeah, it seems like it doesn't do that bad of damage. Like, it still has decent CC, but it just kind of dies, you know? So, yeah, good players just keep it locked down, kill it. Not that great in the tournament meta, unfortunately. All right, Balanced Druid. What do we think for Balanced Druid? We did see Balanced Druid played. Some people played Wizards and actually managed to win some games, but probably need a status quo counterpick material. Oh, aren't we doing melee? Yeah, we're doing melee. Thank you. I was just making sure you guys are paying attention. Just making sure you guys are paying attention. Retribution Paladin, didn't see it at all. Is it surprising that we didn't see the Rep Paladin? Not really. I don't think it's that surprising we didn't see the Rep Paladin, to be honest with you. It just doesn't seem super duper insane at the moment. So, yep. Rep Paladin's fallen off a cliff. Sometimes I fight against Rets and it seems okay. But I think it's just another one of those specs. I have a gut feeling that some of these specializations are just, because they're getting such massive changes in the next 0.5 patch, the devs are almost just like not wasting their time trying to balance them, you know? If that makes sense. How are we doing melee? Why are we talking about Ret? True. Let's do the spicy ones like Warrior. Sure, we can do Warrior. Arms Warrior. Where are we putting Arms, guys? Had the most success, played all the time. No, Arms Warrior was completely unplayed, I think. Arms Warrior is very mediocre. It's like, it's okay. I don't know. When I play my Arms Warrior, I feel like I'm doing stuff, but basically the way I feel about Arms is the better my opponents are, the worse Arms is, if that makes sense. Like when I'm playing in lower rated lobbies, I feel like I can kind of dictate the game with good fears and stuns and sharpens, but as my opponents get better, Arms Warrior just seems significantly worse. So, didn't see it at all. I don't think we will see it. I don't think anyone's investing in Arms Warrior at the moment. We do have Fury Warrior, though. Fury Warrior was actually played, and it was just Laros and Blizzard. So this says one God player pulled it off, probably still average. I think that Fury Warrior kind of fits that bill for me. Like, we saw Laros do well. He got some wins. We saw Blizzo get some wins, but overall still just doesn't feel that good. I feel like the Fury Warrior nerfs kind of heard it a lot at the higher level. So it's another one of those things where some people are playing it, but I don't think any teams are going to invest in it. It's not strong enough. So, yep. So yeah, one God player pulled it off. Probably still average for Fury Warrior. Feral Druid had the most success, played all the time. Going into the weekend, Feral Druid was no big surprise for me. I think it's got a lot going for it. Its damage is through the roof. Its survivability is crazy. It's got really good lockdown and crowd control. It's very good. So Feral Druid was one of the most played melees. Extremely strong right now. They're playing comps like Jungle, playing comps like Feral Mage, and really doing a great job. Doing a great frickin' job, ladies and gentlemen. All right, next melee we got Assassination Rogue. I think for me, I would put Assassination Rogue at surprisingly good. I guess you could. I wouldn't say one player pulled it off. Probably still average. Assassination Rogue was surprisingly good to me. I knew the different rogue specs were good, but Drake made it look really, really good. And I think, in my opinion, I think a lot of teams will start investing in Assassination Rogue. I think the fact that Drake and Prev did such a good job and Welcome to the Jungle did such a good job with it. I've already seen Trill playing Assassination now, so I think that it is one of those specializations that did better than people thought, and players will start investing in the Assassination Rogue. I really think that's true. I'm already seeing teams practice it, so. What's left on the melee train? Survival Hunter. Survival Hunter is kind of like a surprising we didn't see it at all. I don't think anyone played it, which is a bit surprising to me. I think it could be okay. The other Hunter specs are like... Yeah. The other Hunter specs seem way better, but yeah, it's a bit surprising we didn't see the Survival Hunter. Outlaw Rogue. All right. Survival would have been good into the Mending Bandage. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much those removing bleeds really matters, but like maybe a good Feral Druid could tell me like how annoying is it to get your bleeds removed? It's like semi-annoying, I think, but I think you just apply them really quickly again. It doesn't seem like it does like doesn't completely screw them, you know? All right, what else do we got for melee? Outlaw Rogue. We saw it. Does it suck? It seemed bad. We only saw one person play it. I think it was, yeah. It seems bad. Dazed was the only person that played it, and I don't know, it felt very lackluster to me. I'm gonna put it at the it sucks category. Val plays it as well. I kind of feel like if Dazed and Val just played other specs, it would have been better, but maybe I'm wrong about that. There's got to be a reason why they tried it out, but it seemed really subpar to me, so I'm going to put Outlaw Rogue in the it sucks category. At least for the tournament meta, I don't think anyone is going to be picking it up. I don't think anyone's going to be really playing it more. Enhancement Shaman, we all already know, man. I gave the guy a shout out plenty of times during the AWC. One God player pulled it off, probably still average. Yeah. We got Saul on the Enhancement Shaman doing work with F tier, but other than that, Enhancement Shaman is a ghost town. Yeah. Insane. Actually, a little bit of a spoiler alert. Yesterday after the AWC, I worked on like a little video going over some plays, and there may or may not be Saul wrapping around the pillar with the lightning lasso in the video. May or may not. I can't confirm or deny, but their series where he did that was so sick. The little wraparound slam diddly unk. Okay, Subtlety Rogue. Had the most success, played all the time. Many teams played Subtlety Rogue in both North America and Europe. I wouldn't say, yeah, I think it did great. It won in Europe with Waz. Yeah, it had the most success. It was played all the time, as per usual. Subtlety Rogue is looking good. Now, I want to say, I was thinking about this a lot, and I was watching the games, and I actually think Subtlety Rogue losing their CDR on Vanish is going to significantly nerf them. Like, significantly nerf them. To the point where I think they're actually going to need like some help. Honestly. Like they might actually need like some sort of like damage buffs or something. Like I actually swear. They're still going to be OP. You think so? I don't know, man. There's so many games that the Rogue won because of lower cooldown on Blind, lower cooldown on Shadowy Duel, lower cooldown on Bomb, lower cooldown on Kick, and lower Kidney, and blah, 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 blah. Was already practicing as Feral. Yeah, I don't trust Echo at all, man. I'm not gonna lie. When Raikou saw the Frost Mage changes, he says, "Yeah, I'm literally quitting Mage. I'm only playing Hunter. We should only play Hunter." That's what he said. So I don't trust tournament teams at all in what they say. Oh, we'll see. I have to see it to believe it. You know what I mean? Cyberrogue went 4-9 in NA outside of Calfish and Pika. It only won one series, Meep versus the Move. Even the best rogue in NA gave up and played Windwalker Feral instead. Echo winning is Echo winning, not Subtlety Rogue. We saw a lot of Subtlety Rogue, man. We saw a lot of people playing Subtlety Rogue. We saw people playing Thug Cleave. Like in both regions. And it lost. All right. Well, I mean, it still fits the category, right? Had the most success, played all the time. 100%. All right. Outside of the people who played it, nobody played it? That's not true. That's not true at all. Encro switched over to Subtlety Rogue. They were playing jungle. Here's a perfect series. I have an example right here. Ski instructors played jungle, lost. Played jungle, lost. Switched over to rogue, reverse sweep. Keto, Guz, and Corky won 3 in a row. So not entirely true what you guys are saying. I still think Subtlety Rogue is one of those specs that teams will invest in. Maybe Assassination overtakes it. I really don't know, but I definitely don't think sub is bad. Okay. Okay, now we're left with casters. That's all the melee sorted. Destro Warlock. Well, let's start with the Warlock specializations. Destro Warlock. Is it a surprise we didn't see it? To me, it's a little bit of a surprise we didn't see it. I don't think it's that bad. Maybe it is. Maybe it's trash. Maybe we didn't see it. Didn't see it at all. It's trashed here. It's garbage. Affliction's too broken. Okay, so we'll put it down that they didn't see it at all. Demonology Warlock also didn't see it at all. Unfortunately for Demo and Destro. Affliction Warlock, however, the third and final Warlock specialization, definitely had the most success and was played all the time. Roguelock Priest was definitely one of the most played compositions. That being said, I do want to say I feel like we're not going to see Affliction Warlocks outside of with Rogues ever. So, yeah. Maybe, yeah, I don't think it really performed below expectations. Affliction's really weird because its damage is actually overpowered, but it just kind of dies. Like, unless you have an insane team and an insane rogue keeping you alive, you just kind of fall over dead, which is, yeah. I don't know. I kind of wonder if Affliction's going to fall off. I don't really think so. I think teams are still going to play it. But maybe just, yeah, we'll talk about mages in a bit. That's all the Warlock specs. I wonder what they need to do, though. Like, just discussing Affliction Warlock, like I said, their damage is actually OP, but they just kind of die to, like, these melees that just run them down. So it's hard. I don't really know. It seems like from a balancing perspective, it's a bit of a nightmare. Port and Gate need lower CDs. Baseline? You think so? I don't know about that. I don't know if Port needs a lower CD, but maybe they need more armor or something. I really don't know. Give them D stance. Take 2 or 3 defenses from a Frost Mage and give it to Affliction. Like, I don't think Affliction is performing badly, as a matter of fact. And it is possible. Maybe teams are going to start playing Paladin Affliction. Like, maybe teams start playing, like, Assassination, Paladin, and Affliction Warlock. And that's going to be better for keeping them alive over the Discipline Priest. I don't know, though. We'll see. Affliction Warlock, I think it was played a lot. It didn't do bad, obviously. I mean, just... We had in North America... Welcome to the Jung won basically every single game until they got reverse swept with Affliction Warlock. So I think I don't think it's going anywhere. I think people will still be playing it. Devastation Evoker. What do we think about Devastation? Performed below expectations. I kind of had higher hopes for Devastation. We fought a few times, but didn't really feel that good. Didn't seem that good to me. Performed below expectations. Like, everyone talks about how OP Devastation Evoker damage is, but at the highest level, it seems like players kind of play around the range, play around interrupts at the right time, and just not as flexible as some of the other classes. It didn't even seem that bad, but yeah, I don't know. Performed below expectations. I don't know if people are really going to invest in playing it after the tournament, because I think we're going to see pretty much the exact same meta. There's not going to be any changes on Tuesday, as far as I know, right? There's no changes coming, so it's going to be the exact same meta, except teams are going to have a week to kind of adapt and change things up. Let's go BM Hunter. BM Hunter, I think, was surprisingly good. Right? Was it surprising that BM Hunter was good? Had the most success, played all the time. Jungle Cleave, let's see here. What were people playing? Expected, kinda. Not a surprise. Absolutely surprising it was that good. All right, BM Hunter, surprisingly good. Yeah, let's put BM Hunter at surprisingly good. I think you're going to need the context of the conversation with how these things are ranked, so it's probably going to be important people watch the full video and listen to everything. BM Hunter seemed good in Jungle Cleave. I'm trying to think if people played it anywhere else. I think Jungle Cleave was the only comp people played. Yeah. I think it's a surprise in NA and not in EU. Yeah. Marksmanship Hunter, however, had the most success, played all the time. I don't even know if I want to be able to play played all the time. Instead of saying had the most success, I'm just gonna put played all the time. I'm changing this one. We're doing a little midstream edit. Played all the time. Yeah, Marksmanship Hunter, I think going into the weekend, for me, I thought it would be really good. It seemed like it was good. There was moments where it did completely disgusting, overpowered damage. But I think the rise of Paladins, man. I think the rise of Paladins are going to give Hunters a little bit of a run for their money, and Jungle. Like, one of the things about Jungle, when I play my mage, I talked about it a little bit. Like, this Paladin mage combo is really good. You have so many defensives when you have a Paladin on your team, where you actually just don't feel like you're dead to a Hunter. You can play the game against them. So I think Paladins enabling mages so much actually made the Marksmanship Hunter feel significantly worse. Fire Mage, didn't see it at all. We'll go over to the Fire Mage. Overall, I think Hunters were pretty well represented. Fire Mage, didn't see it even a little bit. Balanced Druid, performed below expectations. I thought Balanced Druids might be okay, but yeah, I don't know. Balanced Druids were, like, they did all right. It didn't seem awful. Like, that Elemental Shaman Balanced Druid composition seemed decent. Kinda sucks. Sod, it sucks. Alright, I guess Sod, it sucks. We'll put it there. What about Ellie Shaman? Do we think it sucks? Actually, you know what? I'm going to put Balanced Druid up here. One God player pulled it off. Probably still average. I'll put it up there. Because I do think, like, both the Elemental Shaman... I'm going to put Ellie there, too. So both Balanced Druid and Ellie Shaman is, like... It doesn't really feel like many teams are playing it. A few players got some wins. A few players got some wins on it. I still think it's very mid, though. Like, both those specs are very mid. I don't know if more people are really going to invest any time or effort into them. Shadow Priest kind of felt similar. Did we see Shadow Priest? I'm trying to think. Did anyone really play Shadow Priest? I think we saw it in the open bracket, but not the top 8, right? Ellie, I feel, is horrible. Frofsy played it, and he got owned, right? Shadow Priest Demon Hunter? Yeah, first. Maybe put, that was the Shadow play. Sod, it sucks. Does Shadow Priest suck? I don't know if it actually does suck that bad. But yeah, we did see a Shadow play. We saw a Shadow Priest Demon Hunter, but they kind of just lost every game, right? I'll put it here. I'll put it at this. I feel like Balanced Druid... Here's the thing, man. I feel like Balanced Druids, Elite Shamans, and Shadow Priests are not that far off of being good. I really don't. I feel like just little defensive buffs, little offensive buffs would actually put them in a spot where they could be really competitive. I genuinely think that. I feel like Windwalker Knights are better than the casters in that category, though. That doesn't matter. It's just a conversation. Like I'm not saying what is better or what is worse within these categories. I'll try to reiterate that. It's like one person pulled it off, but it's probably average. Arcane Mage. Well, I'll put Frost first. I'll do Frost. Frost was played all the time, and it did really well. I think a lot of people expected Frost Mages to do well. We saw people play RMP, and surprisingly, FMP looks like now one of the best comps in the entire game. And I think a lot more people are actually going to play that comp. I think next week we see a lot more teams play Frost Mage, Feral Paladin, because it just seems super solid into everything. You got lots of crowd control, lots of damage, and yeah, it definitely performed. Arcane Mage, I am really tempted to put it here, because I actually genuinely think if Cubsy just played Frost, and like if Cubsy was as good at Frost as he is as Arcane, they would have won way easier, I think. Like I think they won in spite of him playing Arcane Mage, not because of him playing Arcane Mage, to be honest. So I will. He was the only one that played Arcane, and I think like it really takes like a Cubsy and their team to pull it off. So I still am gonna rate Arcane Mage's average until I see more, because I genuinely think if Cubsy just played Frost instead, they would have done way better. And I don't think, because of how Cubsy did on Arcane, anyone is going to be playing Arcane. I don't think anyone's going to be investing in it. I still think Frost seemed like the best mage spec for 3v3. Still think Frost just seemed like the best mage spec for 3v3. So yeah, this is basically what happened. Yeah, the surprisingly good category, I feel like more people actually will invest in the Paladin, more people will invest in the Rogue and the BM Hunter. I once again want to reiterate, like, these categories aren't a tier list. I'm not saying that, like, Ferals and Sub-Rogues and Affliction and Hunters are the same, and Windwalkers and Fury Warriors and Enhancement Shaman are the same. It's just, like, this is kind of where I put these classes, and I think for me it's just nice to kind of discuss what, you know, the players are seeing, what they're doing, what's going to change. I think one thing's for sure, we're going to see a lot more Paladin, and I think a lot more people are going to invest in the Frost Mage Feral Druid, truth be told. And I do wonder if Warlocks have just completely fallen off based off of what we've seen. I didn't really surprise, like I wasn't really sure about Affliction Warlocks, but it seems like a lot of the ones in North America just got completely ran over and destroyed by things like Thug Cleave and Jungle, and yeah. I'm surprised Jungle didn't do so well. Jungle did okay, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I still think Ferals are insane, but I guess you just need the mage for it. Anyways, that's my TED Talk. That's the recap of how all these classes did in the AWC. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I think Holy Paladin will be better with a... Yeah, I think Affliction will be better with a Holy Paladin. I kind of wonder if Wizards with a Holy Paladin could be good. This sounds crazy, but there's a part of me that feels like Wizards with a Holy Paladin could actually be decent. Thoughts? Like, is it possible? I don't know. Could be. Maybe not. Maybe you need a Mortal Strike, but like Affliction Frostmage H-Pal might be decent. Might be decent. But yeah, there it is. And by the way, guys, just so you guys know, on Wednesday, I have a plan. So on Wednesday, I figured I might as well shut this out. On Wednesday, I will be doing a full watch party. So for the full North American bracket, I think what I'm going to do on Wednesday is start my stream a little bit later in the afternoon, maybe around 11, and then just stick around for the whole night, stream maybe like 9 hours, and do a full watch party for North America. I probably won't do it for Europe, and the only reason why is a lot of the teams just don't even bother streaming. So it's like I'll probably do a recap of the bracket, but I'm probably not going to do a watch party for the Europe, just so you guys know.